A smartly dressed man sits upon a fine leather chair within the confines of his extremely lavish office, a glass of cold, deep brown liquid sitting in his hand as he holds up a book with the other. Upon his body lays an ornate piece of black clothing that is accented by a few grey pieces. It is a military dress uniform, which gives him a certain aura of authority. His hands are completely obscured by matte black gloves that almost don't react at all to the light from the chandelier above. This man is Lance Quint, or the Administrator, as he's more commonly known within this facility. Leader, visionary, and firm believer in his own plans. What matters shall the Administrator attend to today? Why is there a certain unease within the air? All this and more will be covered in this episode of Superstellar.
Well, one thing's for certain. The overseers certainly do know how to make a good whiskey. They'll spend anything to try and buy my loyalty. But their efforts are futile. I already know where my loyalties lie. They lie with the plan. Feels like progress is finally being made on it. Speaking of, I should probably clean off my desk before anyone visits me here. I can wait. I mean, look at all these awards and achievements around me. I'm the greatest thing to ever happen to the Confederacy. They wouldn't be making the same progress in their plan if I didn't concede with my own. This could be someone important. I'll just clear my desk quickly. Dr. Letka. Don't we have a sit-down meeting in a couple hours?
Administrator, pardon my intrusion. General Tullen has been trying to contact you, but has been unable to. He wanted me to tell you to call him immediately. It seemed urgent.
Can't he see I'm trying to avoid all this? But now he's got my right-hand man involved, so I can't pretend like I haven't seen his messages any longer. Very well. Thank you, Doctor. I'll call him now and nothing else to keep you out of trouble.
Of course. Let me know if you need anything. Perhaps we can discuss Ruby's current state once you're off this phone call.
That would be wise. I'll talk to you later. In fact, you could just wait outside my door. This hopefully won't take long.
Lance, I was starting to think you're avoiding me.
This is probably just going to be some scolding. The human confederacy doesn't take kindly to those who think and act for themselves. Even when my actions benefit them, at least on the surface, they still always feel the need to swab me down. If only they knew. Hey, I do my best. What do you need, General?
Right to the point. No pleasantries needed. Efficient as always, Lance. I believe you already know why I wanted to call you.
I'm afraid I don't. I apologize. I've been diligently working to extinguish the Xeno threat with the tools available to me here in the lab.
The best way for you to guarantee the continued expansion, dominance, and security of the human race is for you to follow orders and not to act on your own whim. How are we going to wipe out all the inferior life forms if we cannot achieve order within our own ranks? 2 instances recently have made me question both your loyalties and your sanity.
Really? How dare you suggest I would be disloyal to the Confederacy? I have dedicated my life to serving this empire, and you know I have done it well.
Well, recent actions taken by you and your team have me thinking otherwise. You hold the Confederacy's most powerful active manipulation tools. You must be more responsible than you've been. Need I remind you of the first one?
In what ways have I been irresponsible?
2 things in particular stand out to me. First, there's the incident on Stantia. Your team dealt with the situation expertly as usual, but that is not the issue. The issue is that somehow data of the largest, most valuable assets under your control, Project Gemstone, ended up in unfriendly hands. This data should have been locked away and never digitally transmitted per Confederacy security and confidentiality protocols. The reason these weren't followed, or the way this information escaped your facility, are beyond me, and deploying the gems never should have been a necessary step in the first place. This is beginning to look like him all over again.
Look, it wasn't my intention to get that data out. We had been infiltrated by some anti-Confederacy agents. We discovered the extremist activists quickly. However, as we are dealing with the issue, they managed to transmit the data to a random source. We're dealing with the issue accordingly, so I don't see what the deal is here.
The deal with it is that it never should have been allowed to happen. There is espionage, and then there's plain stupidity. There should have been nothing that these infiltrators can access about anything that goes on there, let alone the most important project you have, without having to tear the facility apart completely. I expected better, but I did not get better. I thus have decided to take over to ensure this does not happen again. Project Gemstone has been completely wiped off any Confederacy drive as of 10 minutes ago. I will not have a repeat of last time. You're lucky nothing was drawn back to us last time, and I'm not gonna let you do it this time.
What? You can't do that. That was years of research to create the perfect psionic being. What if something goes wrong with the current subjects? What if we want to create more of them?
I understand the concern, but we cannot have this information getting out. I encourage you to be more careful with your assets. If you cannot be, then you will have to make me more from scratch. You've done it once. We fully expect you can do it again, even without instructions, lest there be consequences.
Well, I wasn't expecting them to hastily delete everything we ever worked on from their records. It would take them years, decades, or even centuries to create another project like Project Gemstone. They ever desire more scions? That's a path they'll have to take without me. They're simply kneecapping themselves in the future. Still, I can't help but feel slighted by this transgression against me. Perhaps they've been rubbing off on me. Fine. Delete my life's work. That's fine. I didn't get where I am now by not being the most capable scientist ever to live. If I must, I'll do it all over again when the time comes.
I'm glad you know what's good for you. Now, let's move on to point 2 to make sure we're on the same page here regarding what behaviors are acceptable and what are unacceptable to the overseers. Yet again, we have another instance of either insanity, treachery, or stupidity. Shall we begin?
Let's.
You have engaged in a mission, or possibly missions, without approval from the upper echelons. Don't play stupid here. I know you're not supposed to be able to do whatever mission you want, as you haven't done this the entire time you've been in your position. This seems to be a recent development. I don't know why you suddenly started acting this way, but there's a reason for our protocols, and most of them have to do with the concealment of our agents and the ability of our team to properly plan for any trouble we may run into. Your inconceivable decision to bypass the hierarchical structure of our organization by dispatching our agents to Attar to take out Krong Tarak is extremely worrying to me. but I managed to convince the overseers to let you keep your job and your life. I can't even comprehend why Krong would be a target. Normal Xeno dispatching ain't something to be carried out by Saf and Ruby. You put everything on the line, and I thought you were a smart guy, Lance. But decisions like this and the aforementioned one really are not good ones. You must improve, or you will no longer be the administrator of the RRF.
As if they could ever replace me. Especially now with silent data being deleted. I have knowledge beyond the years of this body. And without that knowledge, they're screwed. They have to know that. Otherwise, they would have had a sign a millennium ago. I understand the sentiment, General, but I explained to you the necessities of the job in the previous message I sent you. The arms dealer was supplying anti-Confederacy efforts. It had to happen. And besides, we were able to eliminate a Grogan.
I commend you for dispatching a filthy Xeno from this world, but rules are rules. Without them, we become just like them. If you were to learn one thing from this call, let it be that you must follow our rules and protocols, and that they exist for a reason. I don't care if you think that you can do things better. The overseers have a vision for us, and it is up to us to enact that vision. The only way we can do that is if we all step in line, which obviously can't be done if one of us, you, are out of line. You don't want to be that out of line person. Believe me, there must be order.
I'll do what is best. I'll follow orders from here on out to a T.
Good. Just know, Lance, that if anything happens that is suspect at all, like the issues 1 and 2 we talked about just now, I will be assuming your duties at the facility. Fall in line or be replaced.
Oh, trust me, General. You can never replace me. Nor would you want to. I understand your gripes, as I said before. I'll follow orders. But I'll be submitting emergency actions to the overseers directly if I need immediate actions, as I did recently.
Right over my head. Classy, Lance. So be it. It's a form of compliance, so I guess I'll take it. You control that facility, so remember, the happenings within it are your responsibility. You are culpable for any failures that should arise as a result of your poor leadership. Lance, I hope we don't have to have this conversation again. I'll see you next time I'm on site. Goodbye.
I'll see you then, General. I need to make sure and lay low for a while. I can't afford to lose my status as the administrator right now. I built this entire life around this role, and I still have big plans revolving around it. I think he recognizes my indispensable skills, but I don't know how far I can push his patience. Great talent is pretty easily replaced with blind loyalty to the Confederacy. This facility is mine. The projects and missions are my responsibility to set up, execute, and clean up after. I don't see why I can't also control when and where these missions take place. You think such an unbureaucratic system wouldn't have so many hoops to jump through, but I suppose it's simply the jumping through the largest hoop, the micromanagement of the overseers. I'm glad I had these observation stations installed here. I can watch my two greatest creations to ensure my plan is not thwarted. Saf, the incredible power that I'm sure we've just barely scraped the surface of. What a great vessel at my will you'll be. And Ruby, ever pushing us ahead and closer to the full realization of my plan. You both have done more for me than you could ever know. It really is crazy that these people would be willing to keep humans caged like animals, but I suppose they wish to eradicate all other life by any means necessary. Good luck with that. All I know is that I've achieved something that no one has achieved in the history of the psionic compact existing, and that is developed psions outside of the compact. Dr. Letka, enter. We just wrapped up.
I hope all went well, Administrator.
It went about as expected. What did you want to talk about?
Ruby. I just got word from the production team that the fabricators they could use to make Ruby's helmet are down. We're likely looking at about a week of delays.
Oh, well, that's not good. Shoot, Ruby's gonna have to go another week without access to the Y system. This is greatly concerning.
Yes, the effects of the lack of the Y system seem to be kicking in as you predicted. She seems to finally be recovering from the catatonic state she was in before. But I'd imagine she isn't of much use to us still in her current condition.
I've seen. I don't believe there's anything we're able to do to remedy this. She's simply gonna have to live with the symptoms until we can get another Y system installed.
Shall I call our liaison with the Union? Perhaps they could offer some assistance, given their further knowledge of these types of systems.
No, that won't be necessary. This is a very well-studied phenomenon with no known remedies other than time or the eventual reintroduction of the Y system. She's been so used to it after years of exposure, but it'll take time for the effects to fade.
And what shall we do if any missions come through before Ruby's helmet is rebuilt? They are so used to being on mission together.
We still have half of Project Gemstone still operational. You are not to tell anybody about the damages to the helmet. We shall handle this internally, and if it comes to it, I will deal with the higher-ups. Judging by the General's call, I wouldn't want any further questioning of our competence to continue running this facility.
Very well. I will ensure critical staff are informed of this decision, so no accidents are made.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Letka. Did you perform the weekly Cyclops maintenance with the robotics team?
Indeed I did, sir. Do you anticipate us needing to use them?
No, but they're a helpful last line of defense just in case. Everyone here is trained to be psionically resistant, but there's only so much someone can do to stop the psion.
You are absolutely right. It seems that in training we can't even fit enough soldiers in the room to stop them, especially Saf.
We've done a fantastic job creating the most powerful and influential tools the human confederacy has. So good a job that not even the confederacy themselves can stop them. It's a good thing they know where to place their loyalty.
Indeed it is, sir. Hopefully someday I am able to avenge my mother and father. You know, they were killed in a burglary gone wrong by one of those mantids.
I remember this from your file when I hired you. I actually have similar desires for similar reasons. My entire people were wiped out by a force of foreign invaders of a different race, and I'm the only one left standing now.
Well, rest assured that our work will one day wipe out all of the Xenos from the galaxy, and finally humans will be able to live in peace without the fear of any of them. They really are bringing our society down.
Yes, that does bring me some solace knowing that I'm working to advance my plan. Justice will be delivered for these transgressions against me. Now, Dr. Letka, I have some work I must attend to, so it's probably time for you to get going.
Of course, sir. I shall return to my duties. I shall talk to you again soon. One race.
One power. Goodbye, Doctor. Good. That should be everything taken care of. Nothing unexpected has arisen, which is good news. A little more opposition than I would have liked, but it is what it is. We're still making large strides towards the endgame. I have a plan for nearly every eventuality. It's a good thing I'm so thorough, because that makes it a lot harder for me to fail. If a plan doesn't work, I shall have plan B through Z ready to execute, and every branch planned out. The galaxy shall remember me one day. The only question is, how soon?